Hello everyone. Welcome to Echo Storyline English. I hope you are doing well today. Tonight, we explore the strange, fascinating, and sometimes disturbing history of mirrors, an object so ordinary today that most people never stop to think about it. Yet mirrors changed humanity forever, because for most of human history, people never truly knew what they looked like. Think about that for a moment. Right now, you can see your reflection whenever you want, in a bathroom mirror, a phone camera, a shop window. But thousands of years ago, human beings lived entire lives without ever clearly seeing their own faces. The only reflection they had came from still water, a river, a lake, a puddle after rain. And even then, the image was unclear, distorted, temporary. One movement, and the face disappeared. Imagine how mysterious that must have felt, to suddenly see yourself staring back from the surface of water. For ancient humans, reflections may have seemed almost supernatural. Some cultures believed reflections were connected to the soul. Others feared mirrors completely, because seeing yourself was once a rare and powerful experience. And perhaps that experience changed human psychology forever. Long before modern mirrors existed, humans searched desperately for ways to see themselves more clearly. At first, they experimented with polished stone. One of the earliest known mirrors was created from obsidian, a dark volcanic glass. Ancient people polished its surface carefully until faint reflections appeared. These primitive mirrors were discovered in regions like Anatolia, in modern-day Turkey, more than 8,000 years ago. But these mirrors were expensive, rare, and often imperfect. Only a small number of people ever used them. For ordinary humans, their own appearance remained mostly unknown. And perhaps that sounds strange to us today, because modern society is obsessed with appearance. Hair, fashion, beauty, identity. But in ancient history, many people may have remembered their own faces only through imagination. Then slowly, civilizations advanced, and mirrors evolved with them. The ancient Egyptians began crafting mirrors from polished copper. The surfaces reflected light beautifully beneath the Egyptian sun. Many mirrors featured decorated handles made from ivory, wood, or precious metals. For wealthy Egyptians, mirrors became symbols of beauty, status, and power. Some were even buried alongside the dead, because many Egyptians believed mirrors held spiritual importance in the afterlife, and they were not alone. Across different civilizations, mirrors slowly became objects surrounded by mystery. Objects connected not only to appearance, but also to identity itself, because humans were beginning to realize something profound. A mirror did not simply show a face, it showed the self, and that realization would eventually transform civilization forever. But mirrors were still rare, still expensive, still mysterious, and in some places, people began fearing them. Because the more humans stared into reflections, the stranger reflections seemed to become. As centuries passed, mirrors spread through powerful civilizations. The Greeks experimented with polished metal reflections. The Romans improved mirror-making techniques further. Bronze mirrors became more common among wealthy families. But even then, reflections remained imperfect. Most mirrors produced dark, blurred, or distorted images. A person could finally see themselves, but not perfectly. And strangely, that may have made mirrors feel even more mysterious. There was something unsettling about distorted reflections, a face that looked familiar, yet slightly different. And over time, superstitions began appearing everywhere. Some cultures believed mirrors trapped spirits. Others believed mirrors could steal the soul itself. In ancient Rome, people believed life renewed every 7 years. Because of this belief, breaking a mirror became associated with 7 years of bad luck, a superstition that still survives today. And as mirrors became more common, human vanity grew alongside them. People became increasingly obsessed with appearance, clothing, jewelry, hair, beauty. For perhaps the first time in history, large numbers of people could study their own faces regularly. And that changed human behavior dramatically. Kings and queens filled palaces with mirrors. Wealthy nobles imported expensive reflective glass. Artists studied reflections to create more realistic paintings. Fashion evolved rapidly. Because now, humans could constantly observe themselves, and nowhere was this obsession more visible than in Venice. During the Renaissance, Venetian craftsmen became the greatest mirror makers in Europe. On the island of Murano, artisans discovered techniques for creating clearer glass mirrors than the world had ever seen. Their mirrors became legendary, beautiful, bright, almost magical. European royalty paid enormous fortunes to own them. Some mirrors became more expensive than paintings, more expensive than furniture, even more expensive than gold. And the Venetian government guarded mirror-making secrets fiercely. Craftsmen were forbidden from leaving Venice, because mirrors had become incredibly valuable, not merely as objects, but as symbols of luxury and power. And as mirrors spread across Europe, they transformed human psychology. People no longer relied only on how others described them. Now they could constantly study themselves, every flaw, every emotion, every expression. And perhaps, for the first time, human beings became deeply aware of their own image. But alongside beauty and fascination, fear also continued growing. Because many people believed mirrors revealed more than reality. They believed mirrors revealed something hidden, something spiritual, something dangerous. And soon, dark legends about mirrors began spreading across the world. For centuries, mirrors became deeply connected to superstition. In many cultures, mirrors were covered after death. People feared that a wandering spirit might become trapped inside the glass. Others believed mirrors could become gateways for supernatural forces. Some claimed they saw strange figures moving inside reflections. Others described terrifying experiences while staring into mirrors at night. And even today, many people still feel uncomfortable in front of mirrors during darkness. Because mirrors create a strange psychological effect. A reflection looks real, but it is not truly another person. It is only you. And yet, the human brain sometimes reacts differently. Scientists discovered that prolonged mirror staring in dim light can even create visual distortions. Faces may appear unfamiliar. Expressions may seem to change. The brain begins interpreting shadows strangely, and suddenly, a normal reflection can feel deeply unsettling. Perhaps that is why mirrors became so connected to horror stories. Bloody Mary legends, haunted mirrors, cursed reflections, broken mirror, bad luck. Even modern horror films continue using mirrors to create fear, because deep inside the human mind, reflections still feel mysterious. But mirrors also changed humanity in powerful ways. Mirrors influenced fashion industries, art, architecture, psychology, photography, and eventually, social media itself. Today, humans spend enormous amounts of time looking at their own reflections, sometimes through glass, sometimes through screens. The obsession with self-image became stronger than ever before, and perhaps it all began the moment ancient humans first saw their reflections inside still water, a single moment of curiosity that slowly transformed civilization. The history of mirrors is not simply the history of an object, it is the history of self-awareness, because mirrors forced humanity to confront itself, its beauty, its fear, its identity, and perhaps even its vanity. Today, mirrors surround us everywhere, yet most people rarely think about how strange they truly are. An object that reflects reality perfectly, an object that changed fashion, art, beauty, and psychology forever, an object once feared as supernatural. And perhaps, even now, mirrors still reveal more about humanity than humanity fully understands. What do you think is the strangest thing about mirrors? Their history, their psychology, or the fact that humans became obsessed with reflections at all? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to Echo Storyline English for more fascinating journeys through history in simple English. Thank you for listening, and we will meet again in the next story.